When you look at the situation as a whole, here is exactly what went down after another blowout loss for the Chicago Sky. This was Ariel Atkins speaking on behalf of Angel Reese. Of course, they traded for Atkins in the offseason.
And the amount of crap that she gets on a day-to-day, and she still shows up. So whatever questions y'all got like about our team, basketball-wise, we appreciate it, but all the other nonsense, like, it's irrelevant. Like, we here to play basketball and do what we do. We having a hard time right now at the end of the day. Just a 23-year-old kid who handles herself with grace. Her crown is heavy.
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a reality check that's shaking up the entire basketball world.
Angel Reese, right? Yeah. They're going back and forth. And Jamil Hill says by the time Angel Reese is done, she's going to be the Michael Jordan of WNBA.
She said about Angel Reese?
She said Angel Reese, by the time she retires, can you pull up this quote? She said, by the time she retires, she will be the MJ of, go to Jamil Hill, type in Jamil Hill, yeah. She says, by the time she retires, Jamil Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the...
After Angel Reese's latest showing against the Liberty, the First Take host didn't hold back. 4 points in a 27-point blowout. No more excuses. With the spotlight at its brightest and Caitlin Clark sidelined, one player crumbled while the other's legacy continued to rise.
Prices, insane. Let me read you the ticket prices. After Caitlin Clark's been hurt for 2 weeks. All right, so let's go through this. Caitlin Clark absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped sharply after Clark was sidelined. Before the injury, the lowest ticket available for Fever's matchup in Chicago was $86. For the game in Washington, fans needed at least $41 to get in. After the news of Clark's absence, those get-in prices fell to $25 from $86 and $14 from $41. What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot...
Do you think Stephen A. went too far? Or was this the wake-up call Angel Reese needed to hear?
Understand a lot of like people be like, you know what, they were in the game at halftime. They were up 1, like, and Atlanta got nuclear hot, but like that's the most favorable way you can look at it. Atlanta were 2 of 18 from 3 at one stage.
Let me set the scene for you. Angel Reese walks into the matchup against the Liberty with all the confidence in the world. Hair done, nails flawless, outfit coordinated like she's strutting into Milan Fashion Week, not Madison Square Garden. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is on the bench, ankle wrapped in ice, probably sipping a Gatorade, and wondering how someone can spend more time on their pre-game fit than actually preparing for the game.
You saw it. I couldn't tell what happened. Like, what was it looked.
We ran into each other.
Possibly like you even stepped on her foot. Like it was as incidental as that.
Let me go look at it. Okay. Great. Next.
Second on the right.
John over here for She Got Game. For you, Angel, tonight you were extremely efficient, played with a lot of poise and confidence tonight. For for all the scrutiny you do receive online and stuff of that nature, what kind of message does a game like this send to them, as well as just the kind of momentum that this could build for you throughout the season?
Yeah, obviously don't worry about what's going on online. I get so much love in person. I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person ever. And I've been going through this for 3 years. I've never had an encounter in person that was negative. So people online are behind the keyboard for a reason, and I don't worry about that stuff. I trust my work. My teammates trust me. And I was telling Milla today, like, she felt like she was having a rough day, and I was like, how many times have I had a rough day? And you picked me up. So don't get down on yourself. I know my teammates have my back, my coaches have my back, and that's all that really matters. I don't have to prove anything to anybody but myself.
4 points. That's not a typo, not a glitch in the stats. That's Angel Reese's entire offensive contribution in a game where she was supposed to be the main character. Stephen A. Smith probably had to clean his glasses twice just to believe what he was seeing on that box score. This wasn't just a bad game. It was a masterclass in how to vanish when the lights shine the brightest.
It's gonna blow up and is worth addressing. Angel Reese had her best game of the season against the New York Liberty. It wasn't even close. Clearly her best game of the season. She's really struggled finishing this year. She looked a lot more aggressive taking the ball up. She took shots from the outside that I think she needs to do. She needs to pull up, make the defense honest. She looked like she was playing with a ton of effort, and the Sky still lost. They still got blown out, and the Sky issues go well beyond Angel Reese's field goal percentage. Obviously, Courtney Vandersloot out for the season. That's a blow, but they weren't even good before then. Their draft pick goes to the Minnesota Lynx.
You want to know what makes this even more painful? The Liberty jumped out to a 10-0 lead, like it was a layup drill. And honestly, they could have won by 50 if they really wanted to embarrass Chicago. This wasn't competitive basketball. This was a public execution masquerading as a WNBA game. And with Caitlin Clark sidelined, everyone expected Angel Reese to rise to the occasion. Instead, she delivered a performance so underwhelming, it practically came with its own apology letter. Stephen A. didn't just criticize Angel's game, he performed surgery on her entire approach.
So the Indiana Fever are facing the Chicago Sky, and they are playing, obviously, in the United Center. There are 20,000 seats. It is going to be one of the most biggest attended WNBA games of all time. I don't know if it's going to be more or less attended, because I think it was 20,000 and something in the Mystics last game of last season, where in fairness, Caitlin Clark played, 15 minutes in that game or something? Caitlin Clark did she even play in the second half? But yeah, that was obviously a huge game. But this game being in the United Center, if you guys did not see, tickets sold out. And tickets sold out in 5 minutes. They sold out in 5 minutes. United Center sold out in a minute. Sorry, not in a minute, 5 minutes. A minute. It was a fight even trying to get tickets. Seats kept disappearing. They started at $200. Back in 2007, you get season tickets for that price. You can go get season tickets probably a year ago for that price in some teams. Again, I'm not going to say all teams. I'm not going to say all teams on that one because
Stephen A. tore into her basketball identity without anesthesia. She's not Caitlin Clark, he said, with the kind of finality that ends careers and starts therapy sessions. Caitlin Clark is on a different level. That wasn't analysis. That was a public service announcement delivered with the subtlety of a freight train. But here's where it gets really spicy. Angel's been walking around with all the confidence in the world, comparing herself to legends.
WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, you know, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far.
Acting like she's the second coming of basketball greatness. Meanwhile, her shooting percentage from 5 feet and in is so rough, it should come with a warning label. Stephen A. pointed out she's shooting 19 for 59 at point-blank range. That's not just struggling, that's actively defying the laws of basketball physics. And let's be real, the but she rebounds argument, that's getting old too.
All the time. It feels like Baltimore here. I love it. Kind of. A little bit, little DMV action. But you know, Chicago is the #3 market in the country. Really? It's New York, LA, and then Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, y'all have everything. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have everything here. Like, it's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I gotta go to a different city for it. Like, everything.
Sure, she grabbed 12 rebounds against the Liberty. Congratulations. You collected participation trophies while your team got demolished by 27 points. It's like bragging about perfect attendance while flunking every class. Rebounds without production? That's just busy work dressed up as basketball impact. And let's not ignore the absurd Michael Jordan comparison that someone, somewhere, foolishly made. Stephen A. probably heard that and started praying for the soul of basketball. Michael Jordan would have scored Angel's entire season total in a single quarter while battling the flu. The audacity to even put those names in the same sentence.
That they've desperately needed in a time when again, if not for them, they'd be completely irrelevant because of the product that they're putting on the floor.
And also make Chicago an attractive spot when you have Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso right there, two bigs that really shine.
Just mentioning their names in the same sentence is enough to make basketball purists weep openly. Here's what really went down in that Liberty game. Angel Reese had the perfect setup. No Caitlin Clark to steal the spotlight. A national TV audience, primetime exposure, and every chance to show she belongs in the conversation with the league's elite. Instead, she delivered a performance so forgettable, highlight reels are filing restraining orders. The coaching staff tried everything. They moved her around like furniture in a haunted house, desperately hoping a new position might summon some hidden scoring talent. Power forward, center, small ball 5. Nothing clicked. By the fourth quarter, Tyler Marsh was probably drawing up plays in hieroglyphics, just praying something would work.
They're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offense.
Quarter, desperately searching for any combination that might result in Angel actually making a shot. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, in street clothes, ankle-wrapped, is still more relevant to the game's storyline than the player who actually suited up. That's when you know you've completely lost the plot. When the injured star generates more excitement than your healthy face of the franchise, it's not a slump, it's an existential crisis. And the fan reactions? They said it all. Social media was brutal. 4 points again became the rallying cry of disappointed fans who tuned in expecting fireworks and got a wet matchstick instead. Even Angel's most loyal supporters were running out of excuses. She contributed in other ways, became the basketball equivalent of, she has a great personality.
Sky. Not a good day at all, because we have heard news from the journalist who reports on the WNBA, and because she is not a homer like a lot of the other people, like normally.
Personality. But Stephen A. wasn't done. Not even close. He dug into the historical context that makes this situation even more embarrassing. Angel Reese built her entire WNBA brand on that one LSU championship moment. The taunt, the viral confrontation with Caitlin Clark. That moment launched her into professional basketball stardom. But here's the problem. You can't build a career on a single college highlight. Eventually, you have to actually play at a professional level. And the irony? It's delicious. Angel made headlines for getting in Clark's face back in college. Now Clark is getting in her face. Not with trash talk, but with sheer basketball excellence. And she's doing it while injured. One player elevated their game to match their confidence. The other is still riding the wave of a moment that's starting to feel more like a mirage.
Journalists are complete homers for one team. One of the actual credible journalists reported on something. Sky fans aren't happy. They all want her fired.
A 3-year-old college memory, while putting up numbers that wouldn't impress a JV coach. Let's break down the efficiency stats that have Stephen A. and pretty much everyone else wondering what Angel Reese actually brings to YA. The table. She's been blocked 20 times and has only made 21 field goals. That's not just poor shooting. That's performance art about futility. She's turning basketball into an interpretive dance about disappointment. And the comparison to Caitlin Clark? At this point, it's unavoidable. They entered the league as the defining rivalry of a new generation. But one is rewriting the history books, while the other is rewriting what it means to contribute. Clark is putting up triple-double numbers and making WNBA history. Angel, her shooting. Percentages are bordering on tragic.
Talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a
historic, for all the wrong reasons. When Stephen A. said Caitlin Clark can pull up from anywhere like Steph Curry, he wasn't exaggerating. We've watched Clark sink shots from distances that make even NBA players hesitate. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is struggling with layups, the kind of shots that should be second nature to anyone who's ever picked up a basketball. The skill gap isn't just noticeable anymore, it's becoming embarrassing. And the WNBA viewership numbers? They paint an even more brutal picture. That Liberty vs. Sky game, with multiple All-Stars and players with signature shoe deals, drew just over 600,000 viewers on ESPN. For context, Fever games, even without Caitlin Clark, are still pulling better numbers on smaller networks. The league has built its entire marketing strategy around rivalries and personalities. But what happens when half of the rivalry can't deliver?
Best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to...
And this is, pre-game fashion choices have officially become a meme at this point. Stephen A. even questioned aloud whether she spends more time coordinating outfits than working on basketball fundamentals. When your pre-game runway walk generates more highlight-worthy content than your actual game performance, you're not an athlete. You're an influencer who happens to own basketball shoes. The coaching staff's frustration has to be nearing critical mass. Imagine trying to game plan around a player who consistently underperforms in crucial moments. Every timeout starts feeling like an intervention. Every substitution feels like a mercy killing. Tyler Marsh probably has angels.
That Illinois native Jewel Lloyd will not be going to Chicago Sky. And obviously they didn't keep Kennedy Carter. And it's looking like one player, obviously, that's been in Chicago across their careers because of
his benching speech memorized at this point because he's had to use it so often. What makes Stephen A.'s criticism hit so hard is that it isn't personal. He's not attacking Angel Reese the person. He's holding her accountable to the standard she set for herself. She called herself a star. She positioned herself as Caitlin Clark's equal. She welcomed the comparisons and leaned into the rivalry. Now, she has to live with the results, and those comparisons are making her look painfully ordinary. The psychological side of this can't be overlooked. Angel entered the league full of confidence, fueled by college dominance and viral moments. But the WNBA has a ruthless way of humbling players who aren't fully ready for the elite level. Every missed shot chips away at that confidence. Every underwhelming game piles on more criticism. And before long, the mental game becomes just as demanding, maybe more, than the physical one. Clark's absence should have been Angel's chance to shine. Instead, it shined a spotlight on everything she isn't.
I'm excited to see what Atlanta turns around this next season because they really need her. Phoenix is also losing Natasha Cloud and Beck Allen, along with the number 12 pick overall in this year's draft to Connecticut. Connecticut is giving up the triple-double queen, Alyssa Thomas.
To highlight how much the league's excitement depends on one player. When Caitlin Clark sits, viewership drops. When she doesn't play, social media engagement plummets. That's not entirely Angel Reese's fault, but it does expose just how little impact she currently has on the league's broader appeal. And this is where salary cap discussions start to matter. WNBA players are rightly pushing for better pay, improved travel conditions, and more resources. But performances, like Angel's 4-point disappearing act, they don't exactly strengthen that argument.
And the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any...
It certainly doesn't strengthen their negotiating position. Team owners are watching these games and asking the hard questions. Why should we invest more money into players who can't consistently deliver entertainment value, let alone wins? Stephen A. touched on something deeper: Angel's supposed leadership. Beyond the stats, what does she actually contribute to team success? Is it veteran presence, clutch performances, game-changing defensive intensity? So far, the answer seems to be rebounds and social media content. That's not exactly a blueprint for championship basketball. And then there's the development timeline. Most rookies show clear growth between year 1 and year 2. Angel? She appears to be regressing in key areas, all while her confidence stays mysteriously sky high. That disconnect between self-perception and actual performance isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. Because that's the kind of gap that doesn't just stall careers.
I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself.
Oh, a looking glass, reflecting a broader issue in the WNBA, player development, and the danger of inflated expectations. Angel's struggles aren't just about one player falling short. They spotlight a systemic problem. The league needs stars who can perform when it matters most. When a marquee name underdelivers, it doesn't just affect one game. It damages the product, the brand, and the league's ability to hook casual viewers who might otherwise become lifelong fans. The Caitlin Clark comparison is inevitable. They're forever linked by that unforgettable college championship clash. But while Clark took that moment and leveled up, using the pressure, the noise, and the criticism as fuel, Angel seems stuck replaying the highlight, trying to coast on past glory. One player transformed adversity into growth. The other turned early success into a ceiling, not a launch pad.
I me. Well, you may have a player that has decided that she's had...
Comfortable complacency is exactly what Stephen A. was warning about. His final point, that Angel Reese might simply not be ready for the professional level, hits the hardest. Because brutally, it's probably true. College success doesn't guarantee pro excellence. The WNBA is faster, more physical, and infinitely less forgiving than anything Angel faced at LSU. And in this league, players who can't adapt, no matter how popular they are on social media, or how strong their personal brand may be, get left behind. Then there's the fan investment. People are spending real money on tickets, jerseys, and streaming subscriptions because they expect to see elite basketball. When a hyped player consistently underdelivers, it breaks the unspoken contract between athlete and audience. Fans feel let down, and they should. Angel's poor shooting performances aren't just bad games.
Claimed that she was along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media. They wanted us to believe that the WNBA was exploding in popularity. They wanted to keep all the credit for themselves while downplaying the impact of the only...
The struggles from close range say a lot more than just a bad shooting night. They hint at something deeper, whether it's focus, preparation, or even natural ability. At the professional level, missing shots that recreational players routinely make isn't a slump, it's a red flag. And when a player can't deliver on the most basic expectations, everything else, the branding, the personality, the social media buzz, becomes irrelevant. The media narrative around Angel Reese has been fascinating to watch evolve. Early on, every criticism sparked backlash. She's being targeted, it's unfair, people just don't like confident women. But now,
players like Angel Reese, they will be given the chance to test their star.
Now, even her most loyal supporters are running out of excuses. Because reality has a way of cutting through hype. And reality says, 4 points in a nationally televised statement-making opportunity is not acceptable, at any level. Stephen A. Smith's criticism feels like a watershed moment. Not because it was harsh, but because it wasn't met with much disagreement. The honeymoon period is over. The benefit of the doubt? Gone. From this point, forward. Angel Reese will be judged entirely on performance. And based on recent evidence, that's a terrifying proposition. Not for the league, not for Caitlin Clark, but for Angel herself.
You want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the end...
Career trajectory. Stephen A. Smith just said what nobody else had the guts to. Angel Reese's 4-point performance wasn't just a bad night. It was a reality check for anyone still trying to put her in the same sentence as Caitlin. Clark, this wasn't personal. It was professional and brutally honest. Clark is rewriting record books. Reese is rewriting excuses. What's your take on all this? Was Stephen A. too harsh? Or was it the tough love Angel needed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you think Stephen A. was speaking facts. And don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered basketball breakdowns. No fluff, just facts.
The NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.